Aho, kitipilo hele, yesipi yayani, losawanwa.
Hello, and welcome to Among the Shawnee, a podcast for Absentee Shawnee Tribal members. I'm your host, Mindy Longhorn, Media Director for the Absentee Shawnee Tribe. Hello, everyone. Today's episode will take us back through centuries of war, displacement, removal, but we're also going to hear stories of extraordinary resilience, endurance, and most importantly, survival of the Absentee Shawnee people. And here with us today are two tribal members, employees. We've got Scott Miller, the language coordinator, and Clayton Martinez, the TIPO, Tribal Historic Preservation Officer. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you guys are our in-house experts, I guess. And basically, I kind of want to put this out there. The reason that we're doing this, kind of go way back, there's a lot of people, a lot of tribal members, they don't know anything about their history. They don't know where they came from, anything, culture. Even I think tribal employees might get some insight, knowledge. The number one question I feel like I get, what does absentee mean? Why are you called Absentee Shawnee? But I think before we can answer that, we need to go back, like to the beginning, way back.
Right.
So you guys tell the story. Who wants to start? Somebody tell it.
Our Tippo, he'll start.
Yeah, let's start with you, the Mr. Tribal Historic Preservation Officer.
Well, I'm not an expert.
Well, but you are I think you're knowledgeable. We'll say that.
Yes. I think it just goes back to family teachings. Not all families are raised the same.
Right.
I look at it as each family has a piece of the puzzle. And going back to 1600s, there's a lot that was going on during that time.
Right.
With the
Turmoil.
Yeah.
It wasn't a very peaceful time. I mean, it wasn't. But the Shawnee weren't here, and I think that's why people think that. How did you get here?
The Shawnees was around the Ohio area and surrounding states. We was a tribe, but also we recognized the divisions. Kishpakothas, Pikowethas, Tawagilas, Mekoches, Jalagothas. They all had their own tribal towns. But, going to 1670s to 80s, we was forced out by Iroquois. Mm-hmm. And we kind of spread out, through the Ohio Valley, Kentucky, down to the southern states. And then we eventually came back. And then that's when everything started to happen then, with the treaties,
right.
with, being forced back, and then eventually, we all gathered around Missouri, Cape Girardeau, all along there, Apple Creek. So I think it's some more villages that was there.
Yeah, there was. It seems like the Mississippi was kind of the start of the division of the Shawnee tribe itself. So I like to tell people that before forced removal, before moving west, on the east side of the Mississippi, we were one tribe, the Shawnee tribe.
Now there's three.
So the area that Clayton's talking about, that is where kind of things started to separate, where you'll find that a band was taken to Kansas, a band was going to Old Mexico to escape all of this, and that's where you're going to find the three federally recognized tribes now, their histories. A lot of people don't understand or don't know that. There are some families that went back and forth between our group, the absentees, into Kansas, but it wasn't a large group. It may have been families here and there, but so there are relations between the absentees and what we call the Loyal Shawnees and the Eastern Shawnees. So, again, down the line, we're related to even some of their tribal members.
Right, and that I know the other ones, they're still kind of closer to Missouri, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then you guys are here in Shawnee.
Right. So yeah, it's interesting. Even before crossing the Mississippi, I mean, like Clayton was describing, we were in a broad area, not in just one location, and part of that's due like he said, the divisions. Each division had their own interactions with tribes back in the east. Our division, the Kishbakotha division, they interacted with the Creeks or the Creek tribal towns back then quite a bit. Some of our folks may not know that. There's a strong relationship there, and that's due to Tecumseh's mother being of that tribe. So it's really interesting, and it's good stuff to know, because as kids we never really heard this, and working here and being able to do research, it's kind of enlightening to know where your people are coming from. We all know about what Tecumseh did as far as tried to unite the tribes against westward encroachment.
Okay, well, wait, we know, but what if everyone doesn't know? That's why we're educating them.
Right.
So what did he do?
So Tecumseh and his brother the prophet, they started a movement or a confederation of all the tribes in the east to prevent westward encroachment on their lands. They were trying to preserve their way of life. He traveled up and down the East Coast, the Mississippi, among the Creeks, among the Uchis, Cherokees, Choctaws, Chickasaws, Potawatomis, trying to unite everyone to fight westward encroachment. Now, at times, he did come up against resistance from some of the tribes who didn't want any part of that. They were just trying to exist as they were.
Right.
But
He was fighting against that.
He was fighting
Right,
against
right.
that. So it was kind of, you could say it was probably the last movement of that, of trying to preserve our way of life or Indian way of life in our, I won't say our time, but that's,
Yeah.
documented.
Right.
And there was attempts before that, and I don't believe they got as far as he did.
He's the most well-known,
Correct.
especially when you think Shawnee historical figures.
Correct.
They said he can read. He wasn't dumb.
Right, obviously.
I mean,
Right. We know that.
He
was smart.
He did a lot of things for our people.
Right.
And I know that there's a few kind of talked down about him, but I look at it as if he didn't do what he did, then we won't be where we're at today.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
we have to acknowledge his
Right.
his importance, his
Yeah.
role,
Right.
the significance. You can't, whether you agreed with it or not, we have to acknowledge what he did.
Because I always tell people too, I was like, he had a gift, and that was talking.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And the way that he believed, the way that he followed everything, that made him who he was.
That's right.
But yeah, he's done a lot. We're reading through field notes, we're reading through the speeches he's
Right.
done.
His quotes that
Yeah.
live on,
Yeah.
they're powerful.
Yeah.
You read them and you're taken back, like, wow, this person, he could really speak.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And when he was addressing crowds, it's just, but we still use them today. His quotes and his words live on. They're still true today.
Yeah, and there's, he started a lot of things, and from my understanding, talking to some of the ceremonial leaders back east, they still follow kind of what he started. In my opinion, I wish we was there, to see how he taught, to see how he, did things, and even in wartime, how, the brains behind it of, okay, well, they're here, we're here, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to come in, all that.
His
Yeah.
strategy without,
Yeah.
now we've got computer. He was doing all of this in his head.
Right.
Yeah.
Without maps and all that technology that we have today. And he was leading. just with his mind.
Right. And I don't believe that the officials or government official military leaders at the time, I don't believe they understood what they were up against. I mean, you had a smart individual,
Right.
and, you know, automatically they're going to assume that Indians aren't going to have that kind of savvy because we lived off the land. We didn't do things out of books.
Or that savages.
Yeah.
I hate to say that. I'm thinking, I was going back to Glenna Wallace, one of my favorite speakers was Shawnee. They were savages, and that's what they use that term, right? I don't like that word, but that's kind of what their mentality was.
Yeah.
And he was far from that.
Right. I mean, he was just protecting our way
His
of
people,
life.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And he did. That's why we have to acknowledge him today. I think we can't have a podcast talking about
Right.
Among the Shawnee without mentioning him.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, even on our logo.
That's right.
Yeah.
His likeness.
So, yeah.
Exactly. So I think that's good that you did mention that for sure. He played a very vital role.
Yeah.
And we're still talking about it today,
Right.
as we should.
Yeah. Give credit where it's due, you know.
That's right. You have to, because if you don't, they're going to forget.
Yeah.
And then the people won't know where they came from. I mean, it's
Right.
part of your history. So did we ever answer the absentee question though?
No, we didn't.
Okay, let's make sure we hit that. But so why are you called absentee?
Because we wasn't present during the 1854 treaty.
Where were you if someone doesn't know? There probably might be someone that doesn't know. Tell us, where were you guys?
We was in Cape Girardeau. And again, there was villages all up and down the river. But a few families, I believe there was, I say a few, there was about 270 families that left, migrated down. Just like as I asked Scott yesterday, you know, I was like, can we use that word migrated? I mean, because I know talking about, you know, the forced removal, everybody says the migration, which it wasn't. It was just
a removal.
Yeah. But I did think, you know, them leaving that area of Missouri, heading down to Arkansas, into Texas, you know, and the rest of them went to Kansas, and we went there. Of course, there was land for us there too.
Right.
You know, I believe it was like. Let me look at my notes here.
Okay.
Brought my notes just in case.
You want to get the exact number, that way someone doesn't look it up.
Yeah, 1.6 million acre tract of land.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
That is a lot.
yeah, and so, but we wasn't there. We was already in Texas.
So you were absent.
Yeah, we was absent.
You were
absent.
We wasn't there to
Right,
sign
you
a piece of
weren't
paper. You know.
So what did they write down? Well, those are the absentees,
Yes.
right? So
You know, and that's where we got our name, that absentees.
absentee.
Yes.
And that's the official name still today.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. But yeah, we went to Texas. You know, and then just the families grew. And then we came into Indian Territory, I believe. I know I got one document that said we came in 1840. And just like Scott was saying about our Creek brothers, and we stayed with the Creeks. Again, I had a paper that I found and read it, you know, and you know, we was with a Creek town from like 1842 to like 1863, something like that, you know. So I mean, we was there with the Creeks, and then we came this way.
Okay, so now that we've kind of established the definition of absentee, what that means, we've got you guys back here in Shawnee. We've also, I think we need to hit on the fact that the two bands, the White Turkey, Big Jim, someone may not know the difference or even what that means. So if someone didn't know, let's tell them.
think it was White Turkey back then.
So what was it called back then?
I just think it was, and I'm just going back to what Thomas Walcott Alfred said in his book.
Civilization.
Yes, I know you got your progressors and non-progressors, and your progressors was made up of the chief John Sparney, Joe Ellis, and the ones that followed him, them as chiefs, the progressors, and of course you had Big Jim and Sam Warrior for the non-progressors, and still doing my research on the bands, but the White Turkey Band didn't come until he became a chief, and of course Big Jim is still going to be Big Jim Band, because
Right.
we was down L.A., but I mean, and the split, everybody talks about, well, there has to be a split somewhere. Well, according to him, 1875 was the split, and we was on the Kickapoo Reservation in Hera. Of course, there was a dance ground there. There was, just kind of how things are today with our ceremonial ground. I believe that, we can't keep running, and being a chief during that time was a lot to think about your people. It's like, it wasn't like Tecumseh's time where, well, we're going to fight it out. We've been fighting, we've been moving, we've been walking, we've been traveling.
Right.
We just don't have the fight anymore. And I believe that's when it split then,
To the two bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of breaking off.
Yeah.
Right. And they're still today.
Today,
We
yeah.
still
Yes.
have the two bands, right?
Yes.
So yeah, the Big Jim Band was what you would call a more conservative, and that for that time means that they did not want to assimilate. They were content in living the Shawnee way of life. No one owned one piece of land. They all lived on the land. They were the last ones to accept allotments. I don't even know if you want to call it accept. They were
Yeah.
kind of
Forced to.
duped into taking
Yeah.
allotments.
Yeah.
But the Big Jim Band is the group that has maintained ceremonies, culture, just because of their conservatism
Right.
to maintain that way of life. So, yeah, and then the two bands even had differences with, like I said, allotments. The White Turkey group, accepted allotments, whereas Big Jim fought it and fought it
Nope.
as long as he could.
Yeah.
Right. They held out.
Yeah. I know I have, some papers, that talks about things, along those lines, with, how Big Jim and, what we call today White Turkey Band, how they did things and their beliefs. But you also had, now, today, you have White Turkey Band, Big Jim in with each other. Yeah.
Right.
And White Turkey Band still had their ceremonial ground, just like we have ours today. They still had Queen Lady, still had Chief, War Chief, all this, just like we have today. I believe that White Turkey, everybody was going the European ways of living
Right.
and picking up the good book, and kind of forgetting about this part. And I believe that's why everything kind of died out with White Turkey. But, as Shawnees, we're still going to take care of one another.
Right.
Doesn't matter what band you come from, what division you come from. Our ways, we got to help one another. Got to help pray for one another. Just because these guys are no longer have a dance ground, but we're still going to take care of you.
Right.
You know, and yeah, I mean that's just kind of how I read things.
But I think that maybe will help clarify for people that have maybe they've heard that term and maybe they don't know,
Right.
you know, what does that mean or anything like that. So, but
You'd be
they're still-
surprised though.
Yeah.
Be surprised how many people ask questions like, "Well, what's the difference between White Turkey and Big
See,
Jim?" And I'm
That's why I
like,
wanted to hit on that.
So-
Tell a little bit about
yeah,
it.
you know,
Something else I want to hit on. You wouldn't believe the people that still ask to this day, did you guys, I know the answer, so before I get flack, did you guys live in teepees? Let's tell them what you, and I want to clarify that because people still think that you did. Let's tell them the truth.
in the movies we did.
And that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
But tell us your housing back then, just so we can kind of get it out there if someone doesn't know.
No, I mean we weren't TP. We weren't a TP tribe.
Right.
That's a Hollywood characterization.
But you would be surprised
Yeah.
how many people think that.
Well, even today, I mean, we've traveled to Ohio,
That's
and
right.
there's some folks that think that,
Yeah.
and that we ride horses everywhere.
Yes.
And wear a big war bonnet.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yes.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Well, we were there at the Great Council
Yeah.
State Park opening, and they were all just, Devin was fully dressed, regalia. They were all coming up to, that we've never seen a Shawnee before. I mean, they were all just fascinated.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things. They were like, well, where's the teepees? And so I'm kind of glad we hit on that just a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, the living dwellings at that time were called wikiwas. So what it was basically a dwelling made of bark. There's a certain kind of tree that you could peel the bark off of to cover a stick-made, I guess, scaffold or whatever you call it, skeleton. And that was what they used as their home. And even way back then, they had a central house called a longhouse, and it was the same way, but it was a pretty good size to where that's where they did a lot of their I guess councils, their maybe some ceremonies and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was totally different than what Hollywood's characterized Indians as living in.
Right. So I just want to kind of put that out there in case someone is
Yeah.
watching and
Yeah.
they don't know. Through don't fall. I mean, blame it on Hollywood. You're right. So, but at the Great Council State Park, they actually have. You've been there, right?
Yes.
Both of you.
Yes.
When they have a dwelling, so you can see it. It's recreated.
Yes.
I thought it was very nice that you could see it. This is where you lived,
Yeah.
not a teepee.
Yeah.
But I wanted to hit on that because people still think that. So
I think they think about that for all tribes.
they do.
You know,
And
like-
it's,
like,
I just
because
wanted
that's
to
what
put
they
that out
see.
there. That's what they see on TV, and
Yeah.
they don't know.
Yeah.
So, and no, we don't ride horses around here. We have cars. And
Yeah.
they don't know that either. So, but I'm glad we hit on that for sure. So, and then we talked about culture and the traditions. They're still thriving today.
Yes.
They're still, it's alive. It's still happening,
Yes.
surviving.
Yes. And and I want to encourage the younger generation to come out. And of course we have 3 ceremonial grounds. And they're each different in ways. But to encourage our tribal members to come and support, because that's our way. That was given to us. And if we don't start trying to get everything back in order, back together, with our folks, 10, 15, 20 years from now, is it still going to be here?
Exactly.
Are we
Right.
still going to be scraping the bottom of the barrel to find this, to find that, to carry on, and it's tough, because our old folks, and when I say old folks, our grandparents, some were real heavy into it, some wasn't.
Right.
Some picked up this Native American church way. So you got a lot of families that maybe did all. But But we're in 2025, about to be 2026,
Yeah.
you know, and we ain't getting any younger, you know, and to have the younger generation to be involved, I think that's where we're at today, and that's what we really need to push with our kinfolks. We hear all the time, you know, well, you know, we got to protect our future, we got to back our future, and all this, but yet we're not
Right.
doing nothing, you know, except go to dance ground, you know, or you know, you're supposed to know this, you know. I mean, you can't talk to the younger generation how our folks talk to us, you know, and I think today, working with Scott, and you know, we talk about how we can push our younger generation, and I think teaching and like this podcast,
Right.
you know,
It's educating too.
yeah, you know, because the ones who was around it knows,
They
but
know.
then you got our tribe members that are here, but they don't know nothing about our tribe.
Right.
They don't
They
even know
weren't-
nothing about our culture.
That's right. Through no fault of their own.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way they were
And-
raised, or
Yeah,
maybe
and
they didn't even live here, another state.
and we hear time and time on, ain't supposed to be written down, ain't supposed to be recorded, ain't supposed to do this, ain't supposed to do that. Well, you know what? All them old folks that was here,
Right.
they're gone.
That's right. I know.
Yeah.
They're gone. So, you know what? If I get chewed out because
We're talking about this.
I don't know this or
Just educate.
yeah, just
Right.
educating, then that's fine. You know, I'll get chewed out for it because to me it's important to know your history,
Where you came from.
yeah, and then the culture.
Right.
And of course, again, we all heard it. You know, why ain't it supposed to be that way? Well, I get that,
Right.
you know, and I respect that. But at the same time, we got our children over here that don't even know who we are.
Right.
You know, so that's just my take on it. You know, and I get I don't know emotional, I guess, about it because
But you're passionate.
Yeah.
And you believe in it. I
Yeah.
mean, it's very important to you.
because you know,
It's your way of life, and
and it hurts to hear the younger generation ask, "Who are we? Or where we come from?"
right.
Or they'll say, "Well, it's all about money." You know,
Yeah.
so well, yeah, but there's more to it though.
Right.
You know, but yeah, I think now is the time where we as a tribe needs to push it out there. Needs to push the history, everything that we got, push it to the younger generation and to the folks that don't know.
They don't know. Right.
You know,
Right.
because they weren't raised around it.
Right. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
That's just the way they grew up, not knowing what you guys know.
Yeah.
Right.
You lived that growing up.
And what's kind of concerning is this generation. They may have heard a lot of "don't do this, don't do that," which we heard, you know, all of us growing up, and I'm sure you've heard it too. Oh, you're not supposed to do this, just like recording.
Right. I know.
Well, got news for you. In 1911, a gentleman named Joe Billy recorded a series of speeches, and it's at Indiana University, so it's been done.
We probably all heard it on Facebook, little clips. And
Right. Mary Williams.
Yes.
They went up, Indiana University, recorded. So it's been done.
Yeah.
You know, and even the taboo of, oh, you're not supposed to write it. Well, guess what?
Exactly.
There's families that can write our language. Back in the days when I believe the BIA had a workforce, I can't remember what it was called, but where families were relocated to go to work. A lot of Shawnees went west to Arizona and California. Well, of course, they probably didn't have phones, so they wrote
Exactly.
letters. And a lot of them wrote letters in Indian. So you can't say that we didn't do it. It's
Right.
been done. And even there's families that kept ledgers of their relatives who were born, passed away, even
Named.
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 Yeah.
Well, that's still right.
So it's been done. It's just
Typically, it's frowned upon.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
frowned upon because perhaps the ones that weren't able to do that, maybe that was a don't to them because they just didn't know how to do it.
Right.
No.
But I agree with you. It's dying off.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yes.
Sadly. And it's a lot, like you said, the elders are not here anymore.
Yeah.
The ones that passed it down, even to you guys. And that brings me to another thing that sadly is dying off is the language.
Yes.
And I know that's where you come in. You did that survey and you found, what is it, 4,700 tribal members, I think?
Yeah, we have 4,700 tribal members, and out of that, we received about 130 surveys back. So based off of that survey, less than 1% can speak any kind of word of Shawnee.
Less than 1%.
And to make it even more alarming, we probably have 20's probably pushing of fluent speakers, fluent first speaker.
And they're probably almost all elders. I'm
Yes.
just guessing. There
Yes.
might be a few. I'm not going to call you an elder.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
most
he
of-
is. I'm just kidding.
No,
Young elder.
Young elder, young.
But most of them are older. They're
Yes.
they're
Yes.
not younger generation.
Yeah. They're no spring chicken
No.
anymore.
But you are trying to revitalize, teach the younger ones.
Yes.
Before it dies off.
Yes. And we started that. We're working with the after school program and both building block centers. Our language specialist, Jalen Littlehead, she's active with all four programs. Matter of fact, we're getting ready for Christmas. So last year we did a little Christmas. I think we went with 8 days of Christmas instead of 12 because it gets a little mouthful for the little ones. But
Yeah.
we managed. It went really well. So she's trying to come up with another Christmas song. And we've been pumping stuff out on Instagram. We have this stuff on the tribal member login. But we have been developing new stuff because we were fortunate enough to be awarded another A&A grant.
That's great.
So stay tuned.
That's right.
After
We'll
the
come
first-
back.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that
Yeah.
again. We'll come
Yeah.
back. But that's exciting. That's great because it needs to happen.
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
I mean, I know it's, like you said, not supposed to be written down, but you're losing it.
Yeah.
You got to teach it.
It gets me though whenever I hear that, from the older ones. Well, back in the day we weren't allowed to do this. Back in the day they said we ain't supposed to do this and they ain't supposed to do that. But that's how we're going to learn.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we're going to teach our people. And it's just like I said earlier, I encourage tribal members to show up, to learn, even language, or coming by my office and just talking with me on what you want to learn.
Right.
I don't have all the questions or answers or whatever, but I bet you I can find it, because this is what this is all about, right?
Right.
You doing the podcast, letting the tribal members know what's going on.
That's the whole purpose
You
that
know,
we do
so-
this, right? We're
so
talking Among
now-
the Shawnee.
Yeah, now it's like,
We
okay,
want
well,
them to reach out
yeah,
at Clayton M. at AS Tribe, S. Miller at AS Tribe.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to email you, like you said, come by and see you.
yeah,
call,
come on, visit.
Come visit. Call. Stop by. Ask their questions.
Yeah. Because that's the only way that you're going to learn. And I think people will get scared of asking questions because either they was told what you're supposed to know, or, they don't know how to go by asking.
Right. Or maybe they don't know who to ask.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
But that's why we have a cultural preservation department.
That's what you're here for.
Tribal members utilize it.
Come see you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd be more than happy to help you, And if I don't have the answer, I'll just call Scott. Hey, Scott, what you think about this? Or, hey, what have you heard on this? And
So you'll get it for them.
Yeah.
Is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah.
We
Right.
have resources.
Right.
oh yeah,
So that way you can help them know and
Yes.
educate, which I hope hopefully someone will get something out of this today.
I hope too.
I hope
so,
so.
yeah.
I mean, that's why we were doing this. And I'm sure we probably could do more. I mean, this is just kind of probably scratching the surface. But I think these are the basic questions I feel like we all get. What is absentee? Why are you here? Why are there 3 tribes? I mean, that's kind of why I'm glad we hit on that. I'm sure there's a lot more that we could probably talk about.
Oh, yeah. A
and
lot
language.
more. Yes.
We'll come back and do more
Yeah.
if you want.
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah, me too. This is my first time doing this. Kind of nervous a little bit,
It's not
you know.
bad. No.
But yeah, I just take notes. You know, whenever we talk or we do our research, you know, what I think that pertains to us. You know, and me not having that with me kind of is like, ugh.
So now that you've done it, you can come back anytime.
Yeah. But no, it's fun. You know.
Okay. Well, thank you guys both for being here, sharing your knowledge, the stories, information. And as we close today, I'm glad you guys were here. I feel like we honored the storytellers who came before. They carried the history, the lessons, the love, the healing through their words. And hopefully today we did that a little and someone's listening and learning so their voices are alive for generations to come. So hopefully we come back and tell more stories.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you, guys.
absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. I'm Mindy Longhorn. We hope you join us next time as we talk Among the Shawnee.
Yahweh, ye si hakueta wiani. Salanoki ke no le poa.